As the launch window for the eagerly awaited iPhone 17 approaches, conversations surrounding its possible specifications and retail price are intensifying. This upcoming model is tipped to bring notable upgrades, such as increased storage and a refined camera array. Moreover, speculation about a sleeker form factor adds to the growing anticipation. A key question on prospective buyers' minds is, how much will the iPhone 17 cost? Numerous variables may impact its pricing, including tariffs, manufacturing expenses, and broader trends in the U.S. economy. Apple has yet to respond to ongoing inquiries about these developments. Although the next iPhone is expected to debut in September, detailed pricing information will remain confidential until closer to the reveal. Nonetheless, we've reviewed multiple leaks, expert predictions, and pricing insights to highlight tactics that may help consumers minimize spending on the new handset. The effect of tariffs on iPhone pricing. Amid persistent trade tensions, import tariffs remain a major influence that could alter the final cost of the iPhone 17. While the enforcement of higher retaliatory tariffs is temporarily on hold, President Donald Trump recently used social media to caution Apple about the imposition of a potential 25% duty on iPhones built outside of the U.S. This uncertainty around trade policy adds further complexity to the pricing dynamics of the upcoming iPhone. In the interim, buyers are advised to stay alert to these policy shifts, as they may significantly affect the iPhone 17's eventual price tag. At present, a baseline 10% tariff applies to all imports, supplemented by a 30% surcharge on goods from China, which continues to house the majority of Apple's production facilities. These figures are anticipated to rise in July, coinciding with the conclusion of the current tariff suspension. This prospective hike may push overall prices higher, including for the much-anticipated iPhone 17. In light of these trends, customers should remain aware of price-shaping elements and explore buying options in advance of the new iPhone's release. Apple has strategically mitigated initial tariff impacts. Before these levies were introduced, the company stockpiled inventory, and some of its products, including certain phone and laptop models, were granted temporary exemption under President Trump's trade exclusions. Additionally, Apple has started relocating some iPhone production from China to India, where current tariff regulations are comparatively lenient. Still, President Trump has pressed Apple CEO Tim Cook to move iPhone manufacturing to the United States. However, most analysts agree that domestic production is unviable in the short term, primarily due to the much higher labor and fabrication costs in the U.S. Estimates indicate that an American-built iPhone could cost as much as $3,500 at retail. These cost projections raise critical questions regarding the pricing trajectory of future iPhones. In early April, the Trump administration clarified that the product exemption list was temporary, with waivers expected to lapse within a month or two. At the same time, Trump suggested that new tariffs could soon target semiconductors, vital components for all electronic devices. No definitive timeline or rate details were offered. As this story unfolds, it's vital for both consumers and industry experts to remain engaged, as the consequences will likely shape Apple's pricing model moving forward. With the current tariff exemptions being short-lived, it is worth considering how these duties might still affect iPhone pricing when the iPhone 17 eventually launches. For instance, if the reciprocal tariff suspension with India expires, import duties could climb from 10% to 26% in July. Similarly, if the 90-day deferral for China ends, tariffs could skyrocket from 30% to 145% in August. While experts caution that tariff hikes don't always translate into direct price increases, the majority anticipate at least a partial impact on overall retail costs. Manufacturing location is merely one piece of the larger pricing equation. Apple sources parts from an international supply chain, making pricing highly sensitive to trade shifts. With this backdrop in mind, we've calculated a projected cost range for the iPhone 17 based on historical pricing and iPhone 16 related manufacturing benchmarks. It's crucial to note that these projections are estimates and not official pricing from Apple. So, how could tariffs shape the final cost of the iPhone 17? The proposed 25% surcharge on iPhones made outside the United States could dramatically raise the new model's price. We'll keep this video updated as fresh pricing intel becomes available. Let's now consider the potential contributors to an iPhone price increase. As we gear up for the new release, various elements might influence a hike in retail pricing. President Trump has in the past criticized retail giants like Walmart and Amazon for claiming tariffs would elevate consumer prices. As a result, Apple is unlikely to cite tariffs as a reason for any future price adjustment, aiming to avoid consumer backlash. Instead, Apple may present any increases as being due to premium features and next-gen innovation, even amid tariff pressures. Experts believe Apple is due for a pricing refresh. After all, the base model iPhone hasn't seen a price lift in 5 years. With each generation bringing more sophisticated capabilities, a pricing revision appears justified. Early forecasts suggested the iPhone 17 Air would be more affordable than the Pro variant. However, Bloomberg's March report challenged this notion, suggesting the iPhone 17 Air could carry a price tag around $900, mirroring the iPhone 16 Plus. It's important to remember that these figures reflect present-day production costs and may not account for the potential cost implications of tariffs on ultra-thin iPhones. The turbulent state of the U.S. economy, intensified by ongoing tariff disputes, continues to stir anxiety over future market conditions. A recent agreement with China to postpone certain duties did trigger a recovery in the stock market following the steep drop linked to Trump's Liberation Day, but this bounce back may be fleeting. Rising joblessness and inflation have prompted the Federal Reserve to proceed cautiously with interest rate adjustments. Elevated borrowing costs may push corporations like Apple to rein in their investments and spending. When paired with escalating tariffs, this scenario could disrupt Apple's global supply chain and create shortages, further driving up iPhone prices. If inflation accelerates once again, Apple might be forced to implement further price increases for upcoming devices. However, there is a glimmer of hope. A weakening economic climate may compel Apple to maintain competitive pricing to safeguard market share. Even so, this may offer little solace to consumers reluctant to make high-cost purchases amid recessionary fears. One savvy approach to reducing Apple-related expenses is to buy last year's model instead of the latest release. Yet, if the iPhone 17 launches at a higher price, demand for previous models could surge, possibly resulting in price spikes for those devices too. Until then, stay tuned for our full breakdown of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, where we'll explore its features and performance in detail. If you've got any questions or thoughts, drop them in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tech insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.